What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So definitely continue to tune in. We greatly appreciate you guys listening to us or watching us, depending on how you're getting the podcast. We are on once a week now for an hour-long episode. You can also catch us on WDJY 99.1 FM in the Atlanta metro area, or simulcast on the TuneIn app Tuesdays at 5 p.m., as well as weekly on DC Fairfax Public Access Channel 10, where you can watch our videos. I think we're going on our next season, so you're going to get a lot of the interviews you haven't seen so far. And then definitely hit up the website for RAM services, right? If you're trying to, baseline your cybersecurity or do a level 1 CMMC, because that's the hot topic right now, hit us up at ramcyber.io, or you can hit me up personally to look at everything else, podcast, the book, The Other Side of the Firewall, all that good stuff at ryanwilliamssenior.com. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from industrialcyber.co, and it's written by Anna Ribeiro. And the title of this one is Cyberattack on Collins Aerospace Disrupts Flights at Heathrow, Other European Airports, right? So Collins Aerospace is a provider that does check-in and boarding systems for global airlines, right? And so what ended up happening was there were several major European airports on Saturday, right? So like for us that are filming today, this was yesterday. So like new, hot off the presses, right? To include London's Heathrow Airport, right? Which is the busiest on the continent. So that's going to be a major poop show, over there for people flying through Heathrow, right? But what ended up happening was it was causing flight delays and cancellations, right? They warned passengers, right? So Heathrow warned passengers to not come in too early, right? This was a little weird when I read this. They told people not to arrive more than 3 hours early, right? And my figuring is like, okay, if you know your systems are down, right? First off, systems that you have in place that make it more convenient and easier for people to travel. So just based off that alone, I'm thinking you have less in-person personnel, right? But apparently that wasn't the case. They're assuring people, hey, we have people in place. Don't show up too early. You're going to overcrowd the airports. They said don't show up earlier than 3 hours and then no later than 2, I think was what it had on there. I think was the other thing it said. But they had people in place. So yeah, it's this is one of those things. We'll see how long it takes for them to get it back online. Because I can tell you right now, man, when I fly, like I have apps that I use for everything, right? To track my bags, for checking in. And sometimes the apps are quicker than the announcements in the airport, right? Like I've had it before where they've changed gates on me, you know what I mean? And like I get a notification in the app and I'm like, oh, we're at a different gate. And I'm at the gate where I'm supposed to be at. And I'm like, it hasn't changed, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's very convenient. But yeah, anyway, they're saying they're trying to work to resolve the problem quickly, but it is going to lead to a little bit of hassle. And like I said, this is very new. Like as of filming right now, this was yesterday, right? So they don't want anybody arriving. Like I said, don't arrive earlier than 3 hours, no later than 2, and they're going to be uh, having people in place to direct and to help with boarding and baggage checks and things of that nature, right? Delta Airlines, which flies over there, they said they expect minimal impacts to flights, right? Departing from the airports, and they had a workaround to minimize disruption. They don't say what the workaround is, but they have something in place, right? It's probably just adding more people, if we're being honest here, right? But even though this happened over in Europe, there's no indication of threats to the Polish airports for whatever reason, right? I don't know if they have different cybersecurity at their airports or what, but yeah, they haven't seen any threats to their airports, which I can't even pronounce the names. I'm not even going to try on here, right? Like I do my best to try to, the people that write these articles, I do my best not to butcher their names. I'm not going to try with these Polish airports, but yeah, these are those soft targets we talk about, right? About them targeting things that maybe aren't getting as much attention as they should, and they really should, especially when it comes to flying, right? Everybody flies. Let me not say everybody flies. A lot of people fly, and the convenience of it makes it to where this is something that you figure you would have good cybersecurity on it, because for as much as you're charging for these tickets, you don't want to be losing out either, with people losing faith in your ability to get them where they need to go. But here we are, right? Europe is going through a cyber incident with the aerospace. Was it called aerospace? Let me look at this again. Collins Aerospace. Collins Aerospace. That's what it was. I thought it was aerospace something else. Collins Aerospace. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it makes me nervous. So I do fly, not a lot. So this past couple of years, I've only flown to one place. I want to say, in 2 years, which is the exact opposite of a few years past, right? I lived in Turkey, so I had to fly all the time to get home. Or when I was stationed here in Florida, I was all over Europe and Africa, so I flew a lot. But surprisingly, I never flew through Heathrow, even though it's a major hub. It was always Stuttgart, Frankfurt, or Charles de Gaulle in France, CDG. So never hit at Heathrow. For whatever reason, it just never lined up. But I know of it, right? Because it's a humongous airport that people do travel through when they go to Europe. Yeah, I don't like obviously attacks on hospitals, but I don't like it on transit either, right? Like, don't stretch these people out. Like, I need them to be as cool, calm, and collective to get me from point A to point B as possible. And this giant metal tube, 30,000 feet in the air, right? So I obviously don't appreciate it. I'm glad that it was somewhat isolated, right? Like you said, it didn't bleed over into Poland, so it wasn't the entire European theater,
Killer.
but it does make me nervous that is this the testing ground before I bring it over to the States, right? And it's just the amount of congestion that's in everything's orderly. Planes stay away from other planes, right? But whenever you look at a map of flights, it is ridiculous. It's like watching a swarm of bees, right? Like it's very choreographed. It does take a lot. The technology in the towers is still kind of in flux. When you talk to people about what they have in the tower, like you see a mixture of state of the art, and they still have like placards where they're switching names on magnets, right? To keep track of the flights because it just works. So it's one of those. It's like banks that have mainframes, or other institutions that have kind of this lo-fi tech, so to speak, even though it is state of the art for what it does, and it works, right? So I just don't disrupt them. Leave them alone, because it does make me nervous.
And the thing is, for what they're talking about in this article, it's just really it's the convenience of the check-in and the baggage check,
Yeah.
right? But to the point of what you're talking about, like it's only a matter of time before we've seen it in movies, right? Like that was Die Hard 2, right? Where they took
Right,
control and like they could control the planes and whatnot. Like that was in the 80s, right? So like we know it's something that's somebody's had 40 years to think on. You know what I mean? So
right. And I never like I should, but I rarely do use the my apps. I print out my boarding passes, like an old fuddy duddy still, and things of that nature. But like it's a lot of tension when you arrive to an airport, especially when you're overlapping with another flight, right? Like that's why I think they don't want people to arrive too early, because you arrive at a gate before it's your gate, and like they don't want the people, the attendants at the counter, don't want to talk to you. You see this? This says Chicago. You're on a flight to Tampa. Leave me alone. It might be a whole different crew for all you know. Like, so I can see like, hey, don't arrive too early, because then you just add to the congestion. But if you're taking an international flight, it's always best to arrive 2 hours early because of security check-ins and things of that nature, right? TSA will, or whatever the equivalent is overseas, will, drag out the amount of time it takes to get from your security check-in to the gate. But yeah, my wife is really big on the apps. So she usually does check in early. She tracks our bags and things of that nature. But I've never been too keen on it. I'm just like, I'm gonna get there and my bag will arrive if it arrives. Like I've had my bag lost so many times. It's never going overseas. It's coming back. When it come back to the States, like somebody's, I don't know, kicking them off the conveyor belt.
So I think it's different. So your wife does it because like if she's doing it, it's more than one person, right? It's either you and her going on vacation or it's you and the
Right.
family, right? When it's multiple people. And that's why I started doing it, right? Because like when I have been traveling lately, it's been everybody. Very seldom am I traveling by myself. By myself, yeah, like it's just whatever, right? I'm easy going. But when I have the wife, the children, you know what I mean? It's like, ah,
Right.
gosh, okay. Now she's worried about, well, what about our bags and this and the third? I'm like, we'll get more clothes. It's okay. It's all right.
Right. You're like Jay-Z and Beyonce. You just buy it when you land.
Yeah,
Baggage for peasants.
I'm like I'm like Nino. I'm pouring champagne on my bags. Cancel that bag. I'll buy another one.
But yeah, I like honestly, I hope that this does not add to the rise, and we still have to find out what happened to make this happen. Like, there's a lot of speculation in this article that it could have been a supply chain attack or something to that nature, right? To be able to get into the system. And that was by a NordVPN subject matter expert.
Guessing it's lax cybersecurity, right? It's something.
Right, most
It's
likely.
it's something that was patched 2 years ago that they got in on that they just didn't patch for Collins Aerospace. But
Gotta check
we'll
those CVEs. We
Yeah.
talked about it. We talked about it last week. You gotta check those CVEs. But yeah, so shout out to those who were impacted. I know it's probably frustrating. Again, like just tra- just traveling in general is frustrating. But I can only imagine if you do rely on those applications. But I'll give it to you, Shannon, for the next topic.
All right, everybody. So this one actually comes from cybersecuritynews.com. Okay. And it is written by, hold on, Guru Baran is who wrote this one, right? And the title of this one is MalTerminal uses OpenAI GPT-4 to generate ransomware code, right? So AI powered malware, right? So MalTerminal, we know it's coming, right? Like AI is AI is being injected in everything that we do, and it's only reasonable it's being used for malware, right? We've talked about it before. This isn't exactly new that AI is being used, but the method in which it's being used is somewhat new, right? So they're dynamically generating malicious code, right? So ransomware, they're creating reverse shells. So this is a little bit different in how they're developing threats and deploying them, right? Because it's unique to that specific threat, right? So it's not like it's something that could be put out there and is being used across multiple resources or anything like that, right? It is out there. This is kind of like hey, this is an LLM enabled malware in the wild, right? So they discovered this, or they brought this up at Sentinel Labs at the LabsCon 2025 security conference, which just coincidentally just ended yesterday, right? Again, another one new as of yesterday, right? And they
Hot
had it
off the presses.
hot off the presses, baby. That's how we bring it to you. You know what I mean? But yeah, just yesterday they brought this up at the Sentinel Labs at LabsCon 2025 security conference. So this is becoming more common where people are beginning to integrate LLMs directly into malicious payloads, right? And this is a challenge because it's one of those things where when you start working like this isn't the traditional way of doing things, right? So like when you start implementing AI, the people that are on the defense, right? Your teams that are there to help you and guard against these things, like they have to be up on their game. You know what I mean? They have to be familiar with what's going on with the LLMs and how Chat GPT is working and things of that nature, right? So this malterminal, right, it's based on predefined prompts, right, and it generates malicious Lua scripts, right, in real time. So it's compatible across all operating systems. Let me not say all operating systems, but the most what do you call it? The most used, right? The most common, I should say.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say common. Yeah.
common, yeah. Windows, Linux, Mac OS, right? So it's not even like it's OS specific to where it's like, oh, well, it's only Windows. So if you're using some type of Linux or Red Hat or anything like that, you don't have to worry about it, right? That is not the case, right? So yeah, this is out there, folks, right? So it's a malware generator, right? Is what MalTerminal is, a malware generator, and like this, it prompts the operator to choose between creating ransomware or a reverse shell, right? So it's not just one of those things where it's like fire and forget it. It's like, okay, we're going to do this. How do you want to do it? And just like with AI, you put your inputs in there, right? You tell it what it wants, and then, right, it sends it to the GPT-4 API to generate it, right? So it sends it there to generate. It does it. And again, it's specific for whatever it is going after at that time, right? It's not like everything else. It's not, let me not say everything else. It's not like what we've grown to, what we become accustomed to, in that we just, like I said, we fire and forget it. We create one, we put it out there, and it's like, okay, that's going to attack several different things. No, you could do this for every single thing you want, for every individual thing that you want to do, right? Which makes it hard to combat too, right? Because it's a moving target that you have to always stay up on. But AI is here to stay, folks. Like you gotta get up on this stuff so that you know how to combat this. Even though it does make life easier in some aspects, these are the things you have to worry about with it. There's always the other side of the coin, where it's the good side, where you have, oh yeah, this is going to make my work more efficient. It's going to make me do more things faster, but you also have to defend against it. And it's the nature of the beast, right? But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so this is exactly what everybody was worried about, in that it brings it to the lowest common denominator. So, I mean, you already have the ability to train your own LLM, feed it the right or feed it the wrong information, so to speak, to make your own chatbot. Like you can do all this in-house yourself. However, it's a lot of work. It takes some skill, right? And you're not getting the biggest bang for your buck in doing so. So the whole thing was like, we need to, if I'm the bad guy, we need to be able to use the easiest product, which would be OpenAI, and it not have guardrails. So it can't, like, because right now, if you ask ChatGPT to do anything like this, it will you'll bump up against the guardrails, and it will either tell you like I can't do that, or it'll tell you like you shouldn't do that, or it'll be in some way it will not allow you to do such. What they believe is that the analysis revealed the malware uses a deprecated OpenAI API endpoint, suggesting it was connected before November 2023 and making it the easiest known sample of its kind. So this was they found the sweet spot, right? They found an endpoint that was the proper build to be able to make the malware, but not have the guardrails that were inputted after November 2023. If this were to be proliferated, right? If they were able to find a way to get to these endpoints or find these endpoints and then leverage them, it would be bad because you'd have script kiddies and things of that nature, like people who just don't necessarily know how to code, how to be the bad guy. Like it gives them a foothold, and it might not even be perfect, but it might build a product close enough where they can Google the rest, right? So that's the problem, is that it provides easy access to people who are not necessarily the best at creating malware, and then people who are really good at it. Oh man, this is a boon, right? Like make this more efficient, right? And they've already built it. And it's just a matter of asking OpenAI or asking ChatGPT to make a better product. Pretty scary, but if you find it, which they did, then you can patch, remediate, defeat it. So hopefully this allows them to fix it, and hopefully they start pushing out remedies before they announced it, because now people are going to be looking for this specific type of deprecated endpoint to like, hey, we got to hurry up and capture that so that way we can use it for our nefarious reasons.
But this is one of those things where like it makes you better in how you defend things too, right? Like when you have stuff coming out like this that's coming out quick and fast, like in order for you to defend against it, like you do have to be an out of box thinker. You have to go and start doing things that's like, yeah, this isn't how we normally do it, but this is how we can combat this, right? So that is I hate to say it like this, but there is some good that comes out of this, right? Whether it be your TTPs for the future, right? And how you deal with things like this. Cause like now as you come out of a generation when it comes to AI, right? Like they figured out, okay, you have to do it. The guardrails went on this date, right? Like if you could do it before this date, this is what can happen, blah blah blah. Well, now that they know that, every iteration at that, because we're on Chat GPT 5 now, right? Is it 5?
Yeah, we're on 5 now.
5, right? So this was an old version, right? That they went to. So now every time you leave, you would think they would think every time you leave and go to the next successive version that you're like, okay, in 5, what happened here? What did we do here? How can we combat against this coming back to bite us in our butts? You know what I mean? So that's hopefully the lesson we learn, right? Hopefully it's one of those things where you never forget. But as time goes on, we tend to forget, right? So
Yeah, definitely. And who's to say that there is something similar when it comes to Notebook or Gemini or so on and so forth, right? I think OpenAI was the easiest or the biggest target because it has a lot more use. But there are other LMMs out there, right? So are they being built more secure? Potentially, but I doubt it, right? Because everybody's in this arms race to be the first to augment it, or what is it, AGR, having these bots have minds of their own. So we'll see. Again, like I think you are correct in that they it's good that they found it, that they can build better in the future because of it. So, but without further ado, I'll give it to you for the discussion.
all right. So this one comes from darkreading.com, right? Written by Robert Lamos. And the title of this one is, and it's funny because the picture on it is a Barbie doll. Like the title, when I saw it, I was like, what did he send me here? I was like, he sent me the right thing. It's called Plastic People, Plastic Cards, Synthetic Identities Plague Finance and Lending sector, right? So what they're talking about is synthetic identities, right? Which blends a combination of real and made up information to create personalities, not personalities, virtual identities is what it does, right? So these are usually linked to fraud, right? They're always linked to fraud, right? If it's real and fake information. And what we have to think about is that with as many ransomware attacks that have gone out there, and as many times as our information has been stolen and ended up in a database somewhere that the companies come and give us our LifeLock for, right? That we've had 10 times over in this day and age. That type of information, this is where it can be far reaching, right? So even though you may have had your identity stolen or you may have had your information stolen 4 years ago, right? This is where it can come back to bite you, because what they end up doing is they take that real information, right, which may be your social security number that they got, right, and then they may give it a fake name tied to it, right, fake addresses, and then they try to go and get loans, right? Like they do like car loans and things of that nature with that identity. And they talk about this in the article, which is kind of interesting. I never thought about this. Is the better way to look at these to try to figure these out, because there's a lot of them out there, right? They believe 1% of accounts out there are these plastic or synthetic identities, right? They said the way to go about verifying is to look for other things, and they call them relatives. It looks like I was kind of weirded out by the way they worded it in here. And they said, well, if you look at a name and it possibly has a speeding ticket tied to it, it's a pretty good guarantee that's a real person, right? Synthetics ain't out here driving cars yet. Give it time, but surrogates may happen sooner than we know. The movie Surrogates, but there's different things to look for to where it looks like a real person would have had to have done that, right, or had to have been out in the wild to accomplish certain things. But yeah, they talk about the prevalence of these and how the financial industry is really the most targeted for synthetic identity fraud, right? So cryptocurrency fraud accounts for nearly 10% of it, right? Lending industry took the number 2 spot, about 5%, right? Traditional banks also about 5%. So Intrust 2025 Identity Fraud Report is where they had this information, and it's interesting to look in it and see what's going on though. But yeah, these identities are a growing threat for every sector, right? Because more and more what's happening is that people are doing things online and not necessarily in person, right? So the fact that you can have synthetic identities out there doing this, it's not it's not unheard of for it to be. Where was it? Who was it that had? I might be misremembering who it was. I want to say it was Wells Fargo, but that could have been just opening false accounts. It may not have been synthetic identities. So
Yeah, I was gonna say
or
most likely I lean that way for Wells.
yeah, I pull back on that. That may not have been this specific thing, but I know it was Wells Fargo was in the news not too long ago. But it could have.
I say that as a Wells Fargo customer. I've been a customer for 23 years, 24 years. So I've been through the various regulatory issues that they had in the past. So not taking a cheap shot. I'm just saying as a customer.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing. They talk about this in the article as well, right? They're not just taking individual identities; they're taking on the identities of businesses as well, right? So this is becoming more and more prevalent, where you have these synthetic identities, and again, because a lot of the information is already out there from real people that has been stolen or made available to these bad actors, it's becoming easier for them to do it, right? And it's kind of crazy. And I say this doing my own informal poll, right? Like how many people aren't really paying attention to their credit like they should, or whether or not things are getting opening up in their name, right? And so like it happens way too late to where they'll have they'll have like accounts open in their name or identity stolen and be like, well, how did you not see it? They're like, it's just not something I'm tracking. I check my credit maybe once a year, right? Is what they'll tell you. And I'm like, well, for me, I have a lock on my social security with all of the credit bureaus, right? So if anything needs to happen, there's other things that need to happen for them to open up an account in my name, right? And granted, that's not a fail safe, right? But it is a lot harder to make it happen. And I'm not putting that out there as a challenge, right? I'm not doing that. But I would think that if someone was to try to open something up, open an account in my name, that could be an issue. But again, with the synthetic, it may not be my name. It may be my social with a different name, right? And then they have fake addresses, or it could be my social with my real addresses with a different name. Could be something like that, right? But yeah, the long con they talk about doing here too, man. They talk about, people just aren't in it for the quick strike, right? Like you may open up an account, get access to like $500 or something like that, and then they talk about you building a credit history. So like you're paying on this card you got or something like that to get access to thousands. You know what I mean? So patience is paying off for them, right? So
Yeah. And
is
that's
it?
the crazy part for me. Like I was gonna bring that point up too. Like, yeah, someone out there is taking better care of their synthetic credit than people are taking care of their real credit,
Yeah.
right? In order to then defraud thousands. It's crazy.
On to you, Ryan. Though, what's your thoughts, man? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think, man, con criminals are just diabolical, man. Like they really do. Like just think if they use the powers for good, right? Because like to sit there and to gain access to a small amount of money to then build your credit that is a long con, right? That's you taking the time to like you could be doing, good things with that time, but no, you're doing nefarious things with that. And I had to turn on my empathy when it came to the car dealerships because it does suck for them to be targeted in this way and for people to do what they're doing. And so this brings up a relevant point for me. So when I purchased a vehicle during the COVID days, I didn't have to go in, right? I did everything through text. I got the vehicle. The vehicle was delivered to me like we're trying to keep as much space between us as possible. Nobody was on the showroom floor, basically. It was like COVID was terrible, but that was a positive byproduct because I hate shopping for furniture. I hate shopping for cars. Like anything where I have to haggle. Like how much does it cost? Like let me just pay that. So recently I had to purchase a new vehicle because my son took over my primary, so I had to get another one, right? So like each older kid has a vehicle now, the privilege. So I had to go get another vehicle for myself. So I went into the dealership expecting kind of COVID-ish treatment, right? Let me hit the showroom floor, tell you what I want. You run the numbers in the background. I'll be back. And they just kept saying, like, you have to do this, this, and this here, and then we can do the numbers, and then we need you to come back to finish the deal. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, why do you've already seen me? But I think it's because of this type of situation, right? They want as much human contact as possible to avoid the fraud and also the pressure. Like the thing, you're not gonna pressure me. Like I already know the numbers. I already, you know what I mean? Like for what I want to spend. And then you go ahead and get whatever, you know, I know you have to get something on the back end. You have to get some. I get it. You're gonna get me, but you know, I'm not gonna be pressured into anything. Like I've already conceded before I walked into what I'm willing to spend. So let's get there. Did I mention I hate going to car dealerships? I hate it with a passion. But now I get it. Like reading this article, like I kind of get a little bit more of why they wanted so much human contact interaction to ask me questions and so on and so forth to make sure I was a real person. And what's crazy to me is I did hear about synthetic businesses a few years ago through Aisha Holland, friend of the podcast, CEO and vCISO for Forensic. She's awesome, by the way. But she was talking about that a few years ago, like synthetic businesses and them accomplishing fraud and things of that nature. And I didn't really look too deep into it, right? Like we had a conversation about it, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. And now we're starting to see the consequences, right? Like fraud has gone up almost double because of these synthetic people and businesses opening accounts. And from a user's perspective, like I'm super annoyed by all the texts, and they keep saying like we have this credit line for you, and yada yada yada. They're trying to get me on a smishing or a phishing attack. But it's kind of crazy to think that they're doing this to the companies as well, right? And then where does that uh, you know, debt get transferred to, or that risk to us, right? Like that car is more expensive, not only because of tariffs and other shenanigans that are currently happening, but because they have to cover the fraud, right? Like a bank has a certain amount of insurance, so for them to catch the fraud is a boon because they don't have to go back and then ask their insurer for X amount of dollars, right? But for I would say smaller entities like car dealerships that aren't necessarily, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar entities, it's probably a lot harder to claw that money back. So it's like the risk of them being frauded or having to pay that money absolutely has to be pushed to the customer as quickly as possible, or they'll go out of business. Like they don't have the money to play the shell game like a financial institution could or should while they're waiting for the insurer to compensate them for their losses. So it's kind of crazy. Like, and then just think if you're a mom and pop and this happens to you, you're done. You're done for. Well, that's even more pressure at that point.
I can almost guarantee the car dealer you went to has been got. They got a couple times, right? Which is why they did it like that. They were like,
Right.
come back in again. But no, you already saw me. Like we laid this out initially, right? Because here's the thing. Like even if it comes to someone that's scamming in person, like somebody could have pretended to be you, gone in one time, and then be like, "Ooh, okay, I got away with it. Now the rest of it I can do online." May not be you they're speaking with over the phone or email or whatever it may be, right? So they're like, no, keep coming back, right? Just in case something is off, right? The chances of them figuring it out, they grow when you have to come and you have to possibly, I'm not saying you are, but you have to possibly lie about who you are, things of that nature, right?
Right.
Something could get caught. So they've more than likely got before. That's why they got you coming in multiple times like that.
Yeah, I was annoyed, but again, that's coming from a privileged standpoint, right? Like because of the COVID situation, and this is our third vehicle through them. So I'm like, me, let's just like get it rolling. Let's get this popping. Let's get this over with. Even though most of those people who are currently working there probably because the car dealerships lose people through attrition on a regular basis, right? Because it again, it's sales. A lot of people just either aren't cut out for it or they don't want to deal with it. Like when you're dependent upon how well you did that month is how well you're able to feed yourself and your family. You might want to get out that game, sooner rather than later. I couldn't imagine. I hate sales, and I have a small business now, and it's kicking my butt. Like, I don't want to beg for this. Like, hey, just go to ramcyber.io and pick what you want. All right. The product is quality. All right. We don't have to haggle about this. But I get it. Like now having to go through that, or the selling the book again. I have to sell myself. I have to sell the people. Is exhausting because of I just don't like to try to haggle with people. Hey, this is the product. This is what's in it. You're like, do you like it? No. Do you like me? Then buy it. It doesn't work like that when it comes to selling the products. It is what it is at that point. But yeah, I thought this was an interesting discussion. I love the picture of the Barbie doll because it is a fake person. So I was like, this would be pretty funny to talk about. But yeah, it's serious. Like billions of dollars are being lost because of this. The bad guys just keep getting smarter, just keep getting better. So with that said, Shannon, how was your week?
Man, it was okay. Work was a little more frustrating this week than normal. I mean, won't get into the specifics, but so I had off Friday, and I had set up a meeting that I knew was going to get canceled, and it got canceled. Just like by the way everything was going, I was like, this is going to happen. And then my coworker reached out to me, and was like, yeah, man, you called it. I was like, yeah, I know. But
Because you're an important person. I love when a meeting gets canceled. Oh, those are the best days. Like I know a meeting's coming, it's looming. I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, or I don't. Not because I don't like the people. I just like anything that again, it's that extrovert versus introvert type of energy, right? Like I always introverts, you're always losing energy. Extroverts are always gaining that energy, right? They're like social vampires in a good way.
so here's the thing. I won't get into the specifics of it. I'm not an important person. Let's not put that out there like that, okay?
You are always an
Let's
important
go.
person, Shannon.
Look,
You are always an important person, Shannon.
I'm important to certain people, just not at work. Just not at work. Which is why the meeting got canceled, because we are not important. I'm just putting it out there, right? So no, I think we possibly we pissed somebody off, and it's been playing out like that, and I could see the signs, and I was like, this was gonna happen. I was like, let me go ahead and predict this. Yeah, this was gonna happen tomorrow, fellas. That's what I told them when I left Thursday. But yeah, it happened. It's whatever. But work is work, right? It's a new week coming up this week, so be something different to deal with. Media wise, you want to know something crazy? I find myself like I go looking for new stuff to watch and stuff that people have recommended to me, and I'll come across something that just sidetracks me. I'm like, I watched all three Blade movies this week.
Yeah,
Right?
that happens. Yeah.
I was on what was it? No, Prime. I was on Prime, and I saw Blade, and I was like, man, I like Blade. You know what I mean? And I watched the first one, and I was like, people who watched this watched, yeah, of course they did, right? On Paramount was Blade 2, which is kind of weird because it was on Prime for the first one and then Paramount for the second one. I think it was back to Prime for the third one, which the third one people like didn't like. After I watched it this time, I was like, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of those was not quote unquote good. It's the third one, right?
It's the third one. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, everybody says the third one, right? And I think it's kind of like the dialogue and stuff like that. But I didn't think it was that bad. But people hating hard on it, man. Like, I'm just like, it's whatever, right? Early Ryan Reynolds, right? Early Deadpool. I was
He
like,
was
all right,
getting ready. He was practicing for the role.
yeah, Animal King. That was his name in that one. But no, it was. I thought it was a good series, man. And apparently, so like I remember seeing articles where Wesley was kind of a jerk on that third one, right? Whether it be he was going through some stuff in his personal life, maybe the tax stuff was hitting him up. I don't remember the time frame, right? But I remember Ryan Reynolds being like, yeah, he was such a jerk, but it's not a spoiler at this point. The movie's been out long enough, but he ends up showing up in the new Deadpool versus Wolverine, right? And
Right. Everybody was like, okay, it's like the reunion.
yeah,
They made up. Yeah.
they patched it up, but like there's an inside joke where they're talking about movies replacing people, and Blade makes the joke. He was like, "There's only one me. I can never be replaced." And he just looks at the camera because there's a new Blade movie coming out, right? And it's not Wesley, right? But
Well, maybe
yeah, 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 maybe I don't know. We'll see. It's been cut now. I don't even know what the status of it is now. Like with them rewriting this.
Mahershala Ali is still attached to it, but I think the director changed. It's just like for whatever reason they can't get the script right, and it pains me because it's like vampires. Blade kills them in cool ways. Like if you could look at the video, if you watch the audio, my face is like the guy, the popular influencer where he does the hands. Like why are you making this complicated? Just the same thing with Doom. Portal, Hell, Marines kill them. Easy. What? Why are you making this complicated?
It doesn't need to be hard, right? No, but here's the thing. I kind of appreciate that, right? Because like when it comes to Marvel, like they've been disappointing as of late, right? And I haven't watched what's the new one with all the bad ones that are kind of like the Suicide Squad type things. Thunderbolts.
The Thunderbolts. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I haven't watched the Thunderbolts yet.
You should check it out. I think they get it that action. I think you'll appreciate it.
Well, it's not that. Like I see reviews where people are like, "Yeah, it was the best one they had this year," and I see others where like, "Yeah, that one's terrible too." And I'm like, what's the truth here?
Yeah, I wouldn't say terrible. It's a 8. You know what
Eight
I
is
mean?
good out of 10 or out of 100. Like if you say 8 out of 10,
Out of 10. Out of 10. I'd say 7.5, 8, somewhere in there.
and you gave Superman, you gave the new Superman an 8, which you said was good because you're not a Superman fan either,
Yeah,
right?
you're right. You're right. I got to fix my scale. So I'd say 7. Thunderbolts is a 7. Superman is
Okay,
8,
all right.
which is streaming at home now. So I saw it last night. It's on HBO already. I was like, that seemed fast. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Magazine Dreams with Jonathan Majors. That thing's been on for rent for like it feels like a year. Like, when are you going to stream this?
Is that the one where he's the bodybuilder?
Yeah, I've been
Did
waiting on that
it
movie.
actually get released? I thought it was not getting released after he got into trouble.
No,
Okay.
it got released. Yeah, but it's been for rent for like so. I think it went to the theaters and maybe it didn't do so hot because of his situation, right? Like people are pretty slow to forgive. So, but it's been for rent forever. But you got like Disney movies dropping on stream way faster.
So okay, it had to be a limited release. That wasn't a wide release then when that came out.
I don't know. Like I did see it pop up in the theater, and I was like, I'll wait for it to come home. Well, guess what? Joke's on me. Because like it's not like for rent for $6. It's for rent for 19.99.
Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy now? Like I'm seeing that across the board. Like the rent is
Yeah,
$19.99, the body
that's past
25.
my threshold. I will give you $6 to rent something, but I will
Yeah.
not give you $20 to rent something. I just go to the theater. Like just bring it back to the theater.
This is where we can capitalize, Ryan, because we could bring back it might be like it won't be Blockbuster, it'll probably be like Hollywood Buster or something like that. We'll
Right,
bring back that premise and be like, no, you only rent for, $5 with us, you know what I mean? Like
right.
we give
It's
you a
crazy.
code to go and stream because we're not giving you physical media. That's still not a thing, right? Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not.
You come to the store and it's like when you used to flip through the oh man, what were they called? It was like you didn't have real CDs. You had to flip through the catalog and then you would go and pick your CD. It was like when it was like Sam Goody was like starting to transition to digital. It was weird.
Like Columbia House?
No, no, I did Columbia House, like where you give them a penny for like the first 20. No, it was like you would go to the store, they didn't have all of the copies sitting behind the thing. They were all fake, right? And you like you just like look at a box of something that you wanted, and then you had to go in the back and get it.
I do not remember this. Everywhere I went, they had it. You could touch it. Like Sam Goody was one. What was the other one? BYE? What was it called? FYE. For your
FYE, yeah, yeah.
entertainment. For your entertainment is what it
Because
was.
even I haven't been to GameStop in a couple of years, but last time I went to GameStop, they didn't have the games behind the thing. You had to go figure out which one you wanted. You look at the box art if you wanted to, and then you had to go to the register, and they had them locked up in a cabinet behind them.
Really? My wife usually goes with my youngest son, like whenever he wants to get a game or something like that. I was not aware of that. So I thought, like, and I'm pretty sure the last time I was in there, I could see everything on the wall. But you're saying it's just like, is it an empty case? Just
Yes,
showing
empty
you what it
case.
is? Wow. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Keep people from walking out with the media,
Yeah,
right?
or maybe that's just my GameStop. I don't. and,
Well,
it,
you're
and it's
like,
been a couple years. Like the only games that I saw were actually in the cases were in the bargain bin. Like those were in the cases.
they're like, please take these off our hands.
Yeah.
We need this. But yeah, that's wild, man. But yeah, watched all three Blades. Wasn't disappointed in the third one as everybody else seems to have been. Been playing the new Madden, man. They had a new update, and same as last
No.
year. And every time a new update comes in, some foolishness from the past comes in, and I'm just like, it's so upsetting to me. Like I can feel myself wanting to crush my controller in my hands. Like, what is going on? Like, why are we back to this? Like, you didn't have it in there when you first released the game, and now
What's crazy is though you could disable patching and not get patches, but then you also won't get roster updates. So as people moved around, that wouldn't happen.
or you could create them yourself. Like some people will do it where they just create them themselves, right? Like no, I'm not gonna do the update, but I'll create the roster or change the settings to whatever, or not the settings, the attributes to whatever I want them to be. But sometimes it does fix some stuff. Like some of the fixes are actually good for the game because you'll have some glitching. Like there was still a glitch where I did a sack and the dude was down on one knee, and it's kind of crazy because at his hip, his leg was rotating like it was going in a circle from his hip as he was down on one knee celebrating the sack. And I'm like, well, that's a bug, you know.
Sonic, he was about to take off.
It was great. But it was slow moving, like it was real slow moving, right? And I was just like, okay, well, that'll eventually get patched out, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, there's still bugs, right? But they got a whole season to go through and do stuff they should have done in the off season, right? Because like even though they're doing patching right now, yes, they're more than likely working on next year's game, right? Like, what are we going to change for next year to make it worth
Yeah,
it, right?
they only get like a nine month cycle.
Yeah, I
It's
think they,
crazy. I'm telling you, it would be a better product. Like EA, if you're listening, which you're not, but Tiburon Studios, let's just say, or to get more than one studio, right, working on the product. So like the Call of Duty cycle, where you have 3 studios working on this product and a bunch of smaller dev teams that plug in where they need to be, and then you're getting a game every year, but it has a 2 to 3 year dev cycle. That's what they need. Like this 9 month cycle is just not like these games are not as pristine or as attractive as they could be. They would just elongate the cycle in my humble opinion.
you may be onto something, man. Maybe they will try to go that route, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of money being
Yeah.
made for them
You know,
putting out.
say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They don't have to pay for extra devs, right? Like just like these people love this game. We are we are highly sought after. You're the only game in town. All right.
Exactly, exactly. You've tricked yourself into believing you're that great, right? What else did I watch? Oh, my wife and I we watched this series Doc. I'm kind of over it, but she still wants to watch it. So whenever she has the time, I'm like, all right, you want to watch Doc? And she knows, right? Like she's like, you're not even really feeling it. I'm like, look, you know what? We're together. Like it's one of those things, right? Like it's one of those things where even if we're not spending time directly with each other, which we spend a lot of time together, like if I'm downstairs or she's upstairs doing something, the fact that we know each other is in the house is kind of like, all right, it's good. Like all is well. But yeah, I'll sit and watch it. It got a little interesting lately to where I was like, ooh, like this is a change from what I was
Okay.
seeing because it's mostly drama and like love story stuff that I'm like, blah.
Yeah, you're like
You know?
yuck,
Yeah,
love, yuck.
yeah. Who needs it? But that's pretty much it for me, man. What about you? How was your week?
Not a lot going on. So, I'm caught up on Alien. I think the season finale is this upcoming week. Alien Earth, I should say. I'm still feeling it. I think it's really cool that the way they put it together. Funny sometimes, funny a lot of times actually. But I think, I don't know. They have a lot to cover in this finale, so I don't think they're going to cover all of it, right? Like they're making themselves a season 2,
Cliffhanger,
pretty
man.
much. Yeah, and not. I'm not sure if it's already been renewed or not. Probably because it is pretty good. Um, I'm caught up on Peacemaker. I think we're like at the maybe 3 or 4 episodes left. I think we're at like episode 6, I'm gonna say. So I think there's like 10 or 12 episodes of Peacemaker, but there's only 8 episodes of Alien. Still funny, still really good. John Cena was built for this role, right? And I saw an article where they're talking to Batista about it, because I guess Batista was also on the short list, and he was like, no, thankfully John Cena got it because he's just made for the role. He was like, I would not have played the role as well as he plays the role, which he does. Like this role is pretty much made for John Cena. Um, yeah, it's pretty good. Like way better than like because season 1, people really like season 1. I just got through season 1. I was like, it has some funny parts, but I don't like where it's going. But season 2 is pretty funny. They have the comedian from Ladies Man. Remember Ladies Man?
Tim
So
Meadows.
I think it's Tim Meadows. I
The
could
guy
be.
that plays
I'm
the
terrible
guy
with
that plays
names.
the principal in Mean Girls. He also plays the principal in Mean Girls.
I don't know. I don't
Hey,
remember.
yeah, I know you're talking
I
about.
don't
I know you're
remember.
talking
But he is hilarious. I think he came in like episode 2 or 3. So he didn't come in at the very beginning, right? He's like a guy that they had to bring in to because they're trying, like, not to give too much away, but they're basically trying to figure out like how John Cena's character Peacemaker is opening up these portals. They keep seeing like the same thing that happened in Metropolis because they tie it to the movie. In that in the movie, someone's open up portals, right? And they don't want the same thing to happen in Metropolis to happen in I forget what the name of the town or city is in Peacemaker, but it's the same signature. So they're like, how does Peacemaker uh, keep doing this, right? And then if you watch the Suicide Squad movie that was made by um, Gunn, one of the characters gets killed. And in all of the other series that Gunn is doing, his dad is a main character. So he has it in for Peacemaker as well. that just satiates his agenda, right? Like we got to stop him from doing this. It's a matter of saving the world, but really he just wants vengeance. So I like it. I think they're doing a pretty good job.
I wonder if he's going to be doing more acting. It's crazy. I was on ESPN this morning, and apparently John Cena wrestled his last match yesterday or the day before or something like
Yeah,
that.
I saw videos of people crying in the stands. I was like, yo,
Yeah, it was his last match.
I thought they were never done because The Rock comes back sometimes.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Maybe it's his last one wrestling. He may come back as in some other form or whatever. I don't know, but because it's getting to the point where even with The Rock, man, like he's mid-50s now, I want to say, right? Or like a
Yeah.
little into his 50s. Like he ain't
And
gonna be doing that for too much longer.
I don't want to say he's a legitimate actor now, but he's a legitimate actor now. Like he's pulling like real roles, like not just I'm a big guy and I'm funny, but like this latest one that's coming out where he's playing the fighter. I think it was called like
Smashing Machine or
the
something.
Smashing Machine. Like, oh, he's gonna win an award for that. Like just watching like just the trailers, I'm just like, oh, I want to see this. Like he's acting.
And then he lost a bunch of weight for a different role after that. So like he's wrapped production on that one, or he's wrapped his acting on Smashing Machine. And now like if you've seen him, he's lost a lot of weight because he's playing like a 70 some odd year old guy. I can't remember what the role is, but like he's playing like an older guy. And I'm like, dang, like that don't really look like him, man. Even as a teenager, I think he was bigger than what he is right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the fanny pack.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on my timeline, like, oh, is The Rock sick? Like, nah, he's just an actor, right? Like Christian Bale did the same thing for was it The Machinist?
The Machinist.
Where he was like,
what's the name of it?
He was like, what's the word? Emaciated. Yeah, it was like, oh, that's dangerous for your health, man. Like, I can see your organs.
Some of these actors are crazy with that type of stuff, man. Like they really get into it like that. And I'm like, man, in this age of CGI, like, hey, just put my head on something, right? Like, yo, I did it for Captain America. You could do it for me. You know what I mean? Like,
right, exactly. But no, it's pretty well. Like I can see John Cena going the same route, right? Like going the same trajectory as Batista and the Rock, and getting roles that are a little bit less about being a big dude and more about like showing acting chops. Because Batista in Blade Runner, I'm gonna get the title wrong. Like the latest Blade Runner, he plays a character that's not all about just smashing stuff. He does smash some stuff though, don't get me wrong. But he was showing more acting chops than in the Guardians where he's like funny big dude, right?
2049, Blade Runner 2049?
Yes, 2049. Thank you. Because I was like, is it 2044? I know it's got some fours in it. Excellent movie, by the way. But yeah, I think Batista's trying to do the same thing, and he was in that M. Shyamalan movie where he's playing like a gym teacher or something like that. And he was showing a little bit more acting chops in that as well. So he's definitely trying to get a little bit more of the humor as opposed to just being the big funny dude. I think John Cena's going to go the same route, which is good. Good for him.
Like I don't know, man. Like I think with the comedy stuff with John Cena, I don't know if he'd be too much into like the drama or whatnot. Like the comedy stuff is kind of funny, I think, because he's so big and because you knew him as a wrestler. It's like even before he stopped wrestling, like he'd have little parts here and there. Like he was in what's one with Amy Schumer? Trainwreck. He was like a boyfriend or something like that.
Oh,
He's kind of funny in that, you know what I mean? But it was a small part. It's just like, oh my gosh, like you just don't expect to see that because big guy being funny like that, right? But yeah, but like and Bautista has done a lot of stuff too, right? Because he's done what's the zombie ones, right? Like it's with Snyder. Like he's in that one.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about. Man,
dead something.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I know he's in it, right? And then he's done My Spy, which is like a family movie, right? Like he's done 2 of those. He's in there getting it in. He don't want to take his shirt off anymore, and I understand it, right? He's in his 50s. He's like, I ain't built like I used to be, so I'll keep the shirt on from here on out, but still pay me to work.
Yeah. So aside from that, I really want to see that The Longest Walk, but I just don't feel like going to theater. But I really want to see it.
Let me ask you something. Did you know that guy that was on top of the tank or whatever was Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker?
No. Oh yes. The second time I saw the trailer, the first time I was like, he looks familiar, but the second time I was like, is that Skywalker?
I had no clue. Like I've seen the trailers and I'm like, oh man, that guy's a jerk. You know what I mean? And then it was like, Mark Hamill, really? Like, oh, okay. All right. The Joker?
This is one of the Stephen King ones where he was under a pen name. So he was under a different name when he made this story, but I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. So it's one of those near future dystopic films. So it's already got its hooks in me there, and
There.
then you add Stephen King on top of it. Stephen King and not supernatural, because Stephen King has the two flavors, right? You got Pet Cemetery, and it's got movies like this where there's no supernatural element to it. So I'm down, but I just don't feel like going to theater.
Have you read the story before you see the movie or no?
No, I
No.
actually have not read this one. It was on my list, but I'm like I don't leave the house enough where I can get an audible version of things. So I've been lacking. The last Stephen King last book I listened to, matter of fact, was a Stephen King joint. It was like the Institute, which is they're making a TV show out of on AMC Plus, which I don't have. So I'm just like, well, I missed out on that one. Because why would I want AMC Plus? What else does it have on it? But that was the last book I listened to, and it was a Stephen King joint.
So when you say he was doing it under a pen name, was this when he became famous or before he became famous? Or he's done it on.
So I still don't remember how that worked. I think he was just releasing books under two different names at one point. Like even when he was gaining popularity, like the whole pen name thing. Like I get it, it's kind of cool, and it can get you through some doors or get you around some things, right? Because like if his name was as big as it is now, maybe he didn't want his name now shine the material, so you go by a pen name. Or if he was trying to, just he has a lot of content, but his he's part of one of the five houses, and they're just like you only get to release this many books. Okay, I'm gonna sneak one out through this. So I don't know the details with this one, and I don't know when it was in his career. I just know that because when I looked it up, it was under the other name. And I was like, oh, it's a Stephen King joint before he was everything was Stephen King. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know the lore. I'm trying to look into it as much as possible because I really did want to go to the movies theater and see it, but I just have not. Like maybe I take a PTO day, like so I can avoid people and go see it.
When did you become such a big Stephen King fan, man? Because I know you've said that before too.
So it was like right after I kind of outgrew R.O. Stein, right? Like those type of books. Like I was really big into the Goosebumps series and things of that nature. Somebody put me on to it wasn't The Shining. It was
Was it it?
no, it wasn't it. It was the one where it's like well I'm gonna say it's like Apocalypse, but that's a lot of his movies. But, The Stand. The Stand was the book that I read, and I was like, oh, I like this. Like I like the way he builds worlds and what have you. So I started getting into it. I still have not read a lot of his material because he has so much of it, right? Because I was going to get to the Tower series, but I was just like, oh wait, the Tower series touches all these other books, so I need to read these other books first. So it's kind of like analysis paralysis. But at some point, I'm going to read all his books because I do think he's a dope author who's going through some heat right now. Like he's like social media is eating him up because he said some controversial stuff, but he always says exactly like he doesn't flip flop. He's been saying the same stuff since he got on Twitter. So it is what it is.
He's got enough money to be all right.
Yeah, to withstand it, right? Again, and this movie is grossing a lot of money. Like it's doing really well, but I don't know how that works for him. Like I think he only gets I don't know if he gets like back end stuff, right? Because I know a lot of his TV series and movies are kind of like just like bought wholesale, and then they create something that kind of have him, executive produce. Like, okay, are we doing this right? Are we doing this wrong? Um, because the Shining is different in the book. He didn't like that. So when they made the Shining 2, I think it's called like Doctor Sleep, he was more into that production, which it was like 20, 30 years later than he was into the Shining because they had changed so much of his material, which is an excellent movie. So, but the relationship between the son and the dad is way different in the book than it is in the Shining movie. So that is like it's worth reading the book also if you watch the movie or vice versa because it does differ so it does diverge so differently. They become kind of like two different products. Oh, go ahead, Shannon.
I don't know if I necessarily like that because I did that with Will Smith, where he's the dad with the son. He had a son.
Is it not Seven
Pursuit of
Pounds?
Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness, yeah.
So like I read the book it was based off of, and it was so much different than the movie, right? So I'm like I didn't like it. You know what I mean? That it was so different. But I read the book first, right?
Got you.
So I don't know. I don't know if I would want to do that, seeing how different it is.
Well, that's I Am Legend. I Am Legend, the book and the movie are totally different um, entities, like almost completely different. Like, so I read the short story first before I saw the movie. I was like, this is not the same, like at all. But I thought it was a good product though. Like, just their take on it, right? Because it's kind of like They should say adapted as opposed to saying that this is, a product
Based
of.
on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, they took concepts from the story, but yeah, it's totally different product. And they're doing a sequel, which is surprising because there's two different endings if you got the DVD
Yeah.
for I Am Legend. So they have to make one canon in order for the sequel to work.
Is the sequel with Will Smith? I'm curious. I've
So
heard the same
far,
thing.
what I've heard is Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan.
So it's got to be a prequel or something then, right? Based off the theatrical. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because there are two different endings that are diverge significantly. But I don't want to give it away in case somebody hasn't seen it.
It's been years, man. Tell him. Look, I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Okay, here's what it is. It's been years. If you ain't seen it, it's whatever. So in the alternate ending, he actually does survive it. What he does is, remember how he was treating the one zombie or whatever, and she was getting better. So he actually handed her over to the zombies, and they left. Like, they let them be. They took her and then left, and then he ends up surviving and going to whatever the name of the colony was. I want to say
Right.
Zion or whatever. He ends up driving to the colony with the lady and her son that is with him. So he survives it, right, in the alternate ending. So there for everybody, right? It's been years since it came out. That's the alternate ending.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, after years.
It's probably like 20 years, maybe
Yeah,
not, maybe not that long, but it's been a minute.
at least 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm interested. Like, hopefully that does go into production because I think that'd be a dope sequel. I like when sequels take a decade to make, right? For some reason, like I like it. Either you have to do it directly after, or you got to take your time and let that franchise breathe. I don't like when it's middling because it's like, okay, you're just trying to get the bag. Like, you should just spit this out right after the first one, right? Like, because Halloween has done that, like with Michael Myers. Like, now, like they took a period of time where they just stopped. They're like, okay, this is getting too. He's in space. All right, we gotta take off the shelf. And then when they brought it back, I was like, oh, this is really good. This is really good. Like a decade later.
I need it like the Matrix 2 and 3. Give it to me 6 months later. That's what I need.
Oh
Film them at the
man,
same time. Give it to me 6
like
months
that
later.
Lord of the Rings where you're just doing everything all at one time. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna film 3 movies right now.
It's 18 months of your life.
But yeah, aside from that though, and just playing around with Final Fantasy VII, I've almost done everything you could do before progressing the story. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. It says I have like 164 hours in that thing. I don't think so. Definitely over 100, but I don't think it's almost 200. But we shall see. But aside from that, man, just I'm gonna cut the grass today and try to chill. That's the rest of my weekend plans. But definitely continue to hit us up on your podcast platform of choice, where you can tune in on Tuesdays on WDJY 99.1 FM in the Atlanta metro area, or simulcast on the TuneIn app. You can also check us out on a public access, Channel 10 in DC Fairfax area weekly. That's about it. So hit us up to check out all of our material. You can go to the websites ramcyber.io if you want to look at the list of services. If you're trying to, get your NIST on, your CIS V8, you want to do a CMMC level 1, a level 2 readiness, I got you. I do them all. And then you can also purchase the book if you go to theothersideofthefirewall.com. And you can hit me up personally on my website, RyanWilliamsSenior.com, where you can get to all the projects and things that I work on. So stay safe, stay secure.